It's 8:15 a.m. It's 18 minutes. You want a motion? You gotta earn it. Did I say that Arkin tricked me into having a drink at 8 o'clock this morning?
Your boss isn't sexually harassing you.
If this thing is
Oh, and we got our little friend right there.
You know, yours doesn't sound that bad.
we need to trim some of the fat. What do you mean by trim the fat? I'll just fire the fat. We're gonna start with large watch. Large, can you come in here, please? What?
I thought he was going to give you a promotion.
Yeah, no, he is.
I have decided who I want to be our new vice president of sales. Me. Yeah, please, we're in the middle of the chat. That's all right, I'll just attribute this to your drinking problem.
We wouldn't have to admit one of those meetings here if our bosses weren't alive.
You can fire Professor Xavier. You mean Hank? Crazy me out, rolling around all day in a special little secret chair. I don't care how bad our bosses are. We're not murderers.
This little sweetheart right here is
My fiance.
gonna get a peek at my little photo album.
You did all this while I was unconscious?
That's my favorite.
I'm in. Did I hear kill people for money? I'm a marketing consultant. You want to pull off a brilliant murder? It's that look like it's an accident. You gotta be smart.
It's got to be worth, what, $15,000? Look how he's going to work out. Look how fast I'm picking up the scrap, you know? I'm moving like super fast. I can't even feel my nose.
I don't want to.
Try the peanut butter sandwich. How you going to do the peanut?
Whoa, look at this.
Oh, little Jack! Little Jack!
Why boss would intending to kill is dying in front of you when you save his life?
Well, that sounds bad when you say it like that.
You want to explain why you're doing 61 at a 25 zone?
I was drag racing in a Prius.
All right, anybody ever been that boss? Hopefully I see no hands raised. Anybody ever had that boss? Yeah, probably more of you are thinking, yeah, right in lines with that. So I want to present our team. We're the last team. We're on the home stretch. My name is Maria Robinson. I'm with the Department of Human Resources, specifically the Central Safety Services Division. We have Scott Crichtel with the Department of Transportation, Christina Bowe with the Public Defender's Office, and Cesar Coronado with Parks and Recreation. Yeah, shut up for Parks. So, one of the things that we want to talk to you about today, much like everybody else, you've heard a lot of great ideas and you've heard a lot of people talk, is what motivates people to be happy. There are a lot of things. It could be exercise, it could be what you eat, it could be how you spend your 8 hours, it could be how you spend an hour. And you may be thinking, why do I care? You know, you're out there, they're out here to do a job, that's what we get paid to do. Do I really care whether my employees are happy? Well, you should, and we're going to tell you why, okay? But one of the things that we want to look at, because everybody today has talked about money and pay and incentives, is, I'm sure somebody's thinking, what are these programs going to cost? If we go to implement this, what is something like this going to cost? So here's another way to think about it. What would it cost me, or what do I need to invest in my resources? Because our employees are our most valuable resources. I don't know what it's going to cost. I don't think anybody in here could tell you what it's going to cost to implement one of these programs. But if we do nothing, it's going to cost you. Turnover runs about 20% when you have a job that's between 50 and 75,000. The average city employee makes around 40,000. So every time you lose an employee, it's going to cost you around $8,000. At any given time, 32% of our employees are looking for jobs. At any given time, okay? Never mind the engagement, the disengagement, how long they've been here. I talk to a lot of employees, okay? I've had that boss, okay? For those of you who are not aware, I think a lot of you probably have already met me. I came from the county. I spent almost 17 years at the county. I'm one of the newest city employees. I've been here about 4 months, okay? I have that boss, okay? So if we do nothing, it's going to still cost you, okay? Anything we do and any part of the solution we are is going to be better than being part of the problem, okay? So we seem to think, some people seem to think that people leave because of the money. We've talked a lot about it. We're going to talk more about it. But here's what was reported in a quick survey by Forbes in March of this year. What was reported was people leave because they don't like their boss. They had that boss. Lack of empowerment, internal politics, and as you already heard today, 43% said lack of recognition. lack of, thank you for doing a good job. Good job on that project, okay? What they actually said in conjunction with that survey was, I want to feel respected. Let me try it. Let me fail. Guide me to do the right thing, okay? Pay me what I'm worth and share the wealth when expectations exceed. But that's why they're leaving. So being one of those people that did leave an employer after a very long time and reading the surveys and doing the research, we went out to the City of Tucson employees and we did a random survey. I asked a couple of questions, but the question that I asked, this first question that I asked was, have you ever left a job just for the money? Meaning, you had a boss you liked, you had a job you loved, and the work environment was great. 66% said no. Something causes people to look for jobs as a general rule. Overwhelmingly, the majority said. Now, in that 66%, there is an 8% of, I didn't actually get a yes or a no, I got a story. I got a paragraph of why I went. Well, it was like this, well, I was working minimum wage, I was right out of high school, then I went to college. Well, I had to really do what I was doing for my degree, okay? That isn't really leaving for the money, okay? You know, well, I got married, I had a baby, I was in an apartment, I had to get a house, I had to get a real job, I had to grow up, okay? So we counted those as no's, all right, just, you know, but about 8% of that. But basically, people don't leave because of the money. It's a general rule. And that's why you should care about your team, about your employees, and what makes them happy. Because if they are happy, they are more likely to be productive and be willing to stay through the tough times. I'm one of those employees who doesn't know about the good old days, okay? But much like the city, I was at the county, I hadn't had a raise in 7 years either. The county was in no different a position, okay? So we're gonna talk to you a little bit about how to get to that and why it's important to motivate people and to help them stay happy in their personal lives as well as their professional lives. Scott's up first.
My name is Scott Prechtel. I'm with the Department of Transportation, the survey section. I've been tasked with talking about low morale. It's a fact. Over the last 5 years, there hasn't been any raises, no cost of living, no promotional, very few promotional opportunities. Morale is low. In my section, it's really low. The city offers a lot of intrinsic rewards already. You know, some parking incentives, bus passes, educational reimbursement. The city does a great job with that already. I do not fancy, I would never want to be part of the ELT. They have to sit back, listen to the disgruntled employees, have to make a decision how we can best bring up the city morale. That's one thing I've learned with this class. I do not want to go there. There will always be an inequality between departments. I hear a lot of griping, oh, well, this department gets this department gets that. You know, there's no two equal people, there's no two equal departments. There's no way that you can ever make things equal, no even playing field. A lot of people have had to lose overtime recently, or the last few years, to cut back on the budget. Some of that's coming back. Fortunately for my people, it's coming back. They've been able to use it. That's a little bit of a morale booster. Some people, it hasn't come back yet. Hopefully the ELT can find the funds, find a way to bring that up, bring that back. The alternate work schedules. A lot of people have been stuck working, going back to 8-hour days. That won't work for everybody. I know for my section it would really work. I bug my boss about it all the time. He's probably pretty tired of hearing me. I bug my boss's boss about it. He's probably pretty tired of hearing me too. Hopefully the ELT will find a way to allow that to come back for those departments that can make it work. I've heard people talk about break room, having a break room, you know, having access to water coolers and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things that can be done for minimal cost. There's a lot of really good talent here. We contract a lot of things out, giving the city opportunities that we could be doing for the same cost or even cheaper in-house. Hopefully that's a way to kind of get people to come back, get a feeling that, oh, I can do a little something extra than I'm already doing. The last thing I want to talk about is cost of living adjustments. A cost of living adjustment really needs to happen. I know we've had to cut back for a few years. In the last 5 years, we've had a 1% cost of living adjustment. Thank you very much. That helps. Is it the whole thing? Probably not. There's talk of 55 cents an hour cost of living adjustment at the end of this year. That'll really help if you can allow that to happen. There's one way I like to look at cost of living adjustments, and that's inflation. You hear these economists say, hey, you know, there's a 2% inflation and there's a 5% inflation. But you really, you know, what does that mean? Well, the way I like to look at it is the Big Mac index. I don't know how many of you have ever gone to McDonald's. I go to McDonald's all the time. But the cost of a Big Mac over the last 10 years has really gone up like 50%. Over the last 5 years, 20, 25%, depending on how you look at it. We need to make an adjustment for inflation. If nothing else, if you're going to do away with merit raises and do this intrinsic raise idea, you know, that's fine. But you got to bring back the cost of living adjustment. You really do. I've got really good employees. They're really griping about, you know, God, there's not enough. I'm having trouble getting my bills back paid and all this. The thing is, there's always going to be inflation, and we've got to keep our good employees. In the last year, I've lost 2 really good employees. One to the water department. God bless you, water department, for taking them. And one to the private sector. And these are people that are coming in with fresh ideas and can help the city grow, help the city be a better department, or help the city be a better municipality. We've got to do something to keep our employees. And if it's at least a cost of living adjustment, that's what we need to do. And hopefully I haven't beat this into the ground, but I'd like to introduce the next speaker. It's Cesar Coronado, and he's going to talk about intrinsic rewards as we see them right now.
Financial rewards remain significant for employees. Income is an important consideration for all workers in accepting a job. However, after people have accepted a job, we are responsible for making their positive energy a habit. So how can we do that? Maybe we can play Scrabble. We have 3 very good words that I've learned in this supervisory core: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. To me, autonomy is to make me feel free to choose how to accomplish my work. Through coaching and support, employees should recognize what is priority and what activities can wait. This should give you the feeling of ownership to that job. Mastery. Mastery is to feel self-satisfaction, pride, or even a cutting-edge skill in how well you handle the task at hand. And purpose. Purpose is to feel the importance of the goal that we are trying to achieve. That it's worth our time and energy, giving us a strong sense of direction and should lead us to progress. Give us confidence in the future. Doesn't sound, I mean, it sounds easy, but, you know, some people say that often that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend doing it daily. And now I'll pass to the next subject.
Cesar, we're out Parks and Rec. And so Caesar was going over some of the issues that we learned about in this supervisory core series that are the basis for motivation. If you haven't read Daniel Pink's book about it, it really does cover a lot of the research that's been done over and over and over again, and shows you know how this really works, how well people can be discouraged and morale can bring them down when we're talking about the baseline financial issues. That perhaps there are ways to encourage motivation anyways. Daniel Pink in his book says we really have to have this baseline settled first. I think it is possible, and the companies are showing that it is possible to really, you know, even if we don't have that baseline perfectly worked out yet, we need to start moving ahead and trying to do things to motivate and really encourage that intrinsic motivation that people have in their work. So just now, Caesar and I, you know, good job, we did that. You know, the high five, and that's the kind of thing that it's just the little things. It's the, you know, acknowledgement of, hey, you know, we work together, we're doing something together, and nice work that means a lot to people. People have really responded in their surveys that we did, some of the informal surveys that we did of people across citywide, that this is an important thing to them. So it's important that this be frequent, that they hear this frequently and a lot, and that we encourage a culture, because that's also one of the things that was frequently mentioned. When we ask people out there in the city, what makes you come to work every day? You know, really, despite all the rough times that we've been going through, all the, you know, overwork, we've lost a lot of staff, we lost a third of staff, you know, citywide, we you know, haven't got the increases. You know, things are tough. They've gotten tougher in the last few years, so what makes you come to work? And invariably, they talked about the culture of their workplace, the camaraderie they felt with their coworkers, things that really brought them together, and they felt like, I can really come and do this job because I'm working with great people, and also, I understand that I'm doing an important job, and I know what that job means, and that's what I'm out here to do, and I take a lot of pride in that, and I feel a purpose in what I do. So it seems like when we talk to people around the city that despite the big elephant in the room of not being able to provide the financial incentives that we would like to give people, that the city is doing a pretty good job in a lot of different departments, providing that happiness, that sense of we're all in this together and we're doing a great job, we know what our purpose is, and we feel good about it. Now, informally, this is going on in departments across the city, but it would be a nice idea for the city to consider really formalizing this commitment to appreciating employees and appreciating what they do. Taking a look at the administrative directives under the heading of employee incentives, there is one, and that is a referral fee for getting a police department recruit into the program and having them established as an employee. There's only one administrative directive that goes to employee incentives. So it'd be nice if this process could be a little formalized, because the administrative directives do give the policies and the programs that the city puts in place. There are places that have programs in the appendix to our report. You'll see entire program put forward by Texas A&M University, also one from Desert Diamond Casino, where they have actually formalized a process, and it's flexible, so it can fit different departments differently, but they've actually formalized a process in giving employee recognition. Some of the other groups that were up here today sort of talked about how those programs might be established, what they might actually say. And it'd be a nice step for the city to really take a formalizing approach that we really mean that we appreciate people, and we're actually going to put it in our directives, and that we do this, and we're going to support departments when they want to support their employees. So we can do this at many levels, and it doesn't have to be all merit-based. We can actually make our employees happy with non-merit considerations. A lot of employees gave feedback when we were asking them about this, and a lot of companies out there in the business world are giving a number of just basically perks, the perks of employment. The city has a few of those going on, certain discounts you can get in certain areas and that type of thing. But this is an important factor in really feeling a commitment to the city, feeling attached, feeling engaged to the community as well. Employees talked about a variety of things like parking and and discount passes, TCC events, things that the city is already involved in, maybe even streetcar passes, discounts to streetcar, things that are already going on that city's employees, just like, say, an employee at Nike, or if someone would have an employee discount, could get a discount because they're a city employee, and this is a city function. It has the double effect of not only providing an incentive for employment with the city, but then also publicizing and making people aware of and using some of those activities that the city is actually committed to. In terms of merit incentives, the objectives there are to make sure that it's not simply a length of service type of thing, but this goes to specific behaviors that are really performance related, that go to doing extraordinary work and support the mission of the city, the mission of the departments in providing great service. And these are effective when they're done frequently, when they're done immediately, and when they're rewarding specific behavior, when they're not an expected thing necessarily, but something that comes after. Hey, we noticed you did a great job on this, or you really talked to this customer well, you really served the city in this way, and now we'd like to give you this. And in our plan, we were thinking on this in terms of a 3-tiered level. First tier being this peer-to-peer level. Sometimes when we get recognition from our peers in the workplace about, hey, I noticed you did that, that was excellent. It is more meaningful because we know that, hey, that person who just gave me that recognition, they know exactly what I'm out there doing every day. And it's very meaningful to give peer-to-peer. We've seen in our research that companies did different types of things like cards or little gifts of pens or maybe something that you use in the workplace, where it would be easy for one peer to be able to take that token and acknowledge a peer and say, hey, great job on this, and give them either some sort of little recognition, a token of some sort. It's important that these be personalized and direct and specific about what it was for. The second level we're thinking of in terms of this is some sort of more formal acknowledgement coming from supervisory or management, in other words, sort of more of a top-down type of recognition, where your supervisor, your leader, would be able to give you a, say, certificate of achievement or a plaque, or be able to tell your story about what you did and why it was so great, either in a newsletter or a meeting, or maybe even on a city website. Something like this where it's a more formalized program. There could be an award with it, including job mentoring or training opportunities to move up. It could be a luncheon or a gift, something from your management or your direct supervisor that really indicates that we really noticed what you did. That was a job well done. It serves as a motivating factor, not only for the employee who receives the award, but also for those around to see that, hey, this is the type of work and it gets noticed here. And when I work for the city and I do a good job, it gets noticed. The most important thing with those is that they be sincere and meaningful. And a good way of doing that is to keep the objectives specific, not merely length of service or you've been here a long time and you've been doing a great job, but very specific, behavior-oriented, specific performances. And finally, the third idea we thought of might be something a little bit bigger, a little bit grander, would be a spotlight award, or any type of award you want to name it. We're thinking of a spotlight because it really would be maybe more of an annual type award, given by a committee set up by the city. And maybe the committee members are previous winners of the annual award. Nomination process, like we heard from the city of Mesa, City of Mesa would be a very open process. Anybody could nominate anyone, or a team could be nominated to receive this award. And the idea behind it is that the person or group who's receiving this award decides what the award is going to be. And it's not going to enrich them. It's going to enrich either the community or their workplace. It's going to honor something about what they've done and their service that they give to the city. So it should be ceremonial. So in other words, the committee might pick out a team or an individual, or maybe there's 3 awards. It should have a value attached of some significant amount. So you could do with it, when the person receiving the award wants to receive it, they have to actually propose what kind of award it's going to be. If it's, say, a $3,000 cap, they could use that in terms of $3,000 worth of paid work hours for a team to do some volunteer work, or they could make it a complete charitable gift, or they could buy new hats or shirts for the entire team to use out in the field, protect them from the sun. Something that would honor, the objectives would be that this award would have to honor their coworkers, their workplace, the work that they do, the city as a community, or the city missions. And that would be the requirements of that objective. But I think it's important that it be flexible that way, so that the meaning associated with getting it is important. It serves the purpose that the individual does their work. It serves their own personal purpose as well as a citywide mission. It's sort of doubles over on itself, because it might be something that not only provides an opportunity for the city to shine a spotlight on some of the services they do, but in ways that they can continue to give back to city in terms of charitable gifts, that kind of thing. It's an opportunity for a ceremony for the positive things that go on in the city, and in terms of building confidence with the community. The city as an organization can definitely use as much of that as they can get, having a ceremony and showing that city workers, city employees are doing great things, and they're going to continue to do great things and move it forward in that way. So that's kind of the benefits of them, to sort of excite the workplace, benefit the community, and create this sort of publicity, create excitement in the workplace about, hey, I received this award, and now I get to do something that I really value with it in order to enhance city services or the city as a community. So I wanted to recognize all of the groups who've gone before and all the people that I've been working with. It's really astounding what different ideas they've come up with. And I think that any one of them and all of them could be implemented successfully and see a return on the investment that we make to this community. And it could result in a more excited workforce, really more committed, and happiness in the workplace, because this is time and again what people in all fields, and certainly people in the city, have told us, that their happiness and satisfaction in their workplace really keeps them going. It keeps them motivated, it keeps them focused on the mission, and that's really what makes them want to continue to come in and give their best efforts. And with that,
Okay, so we're going to close with just a slideshow, quick slideshow, because we went out there, met a lot of people, took some pictures, got a lot of feedback, comments, what do you love about your job, what do you like about your job, that kind of stuff. How many of you picked up the little pamphlet coming in, the little graduation? Okay, really, that many? Okay. So on the very front, there is a little quote. It says, "I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples." So keep that in mind, please, while you watch our closing. And if you have any questions, we will be available afterwards.